Good morning. Today is February 26, 2020. This is Clear Passage Prayer Line. The title of the message today is Wisdom, Discernment, and Give Up Control. Wisdom, discernment, and giving up control. This is critical in order to move forward with the plans of God. Wisdom, discernment, and giving up control. The reason we have the four people praying, we may have, however the Lord leads, but the reason we're having the four people, women of God, to pray in the morning is because they pick up each one of them pick up a different kind of anointing and discernment in the spirit realm. And so and they're confirming the word before we even start talking about it, but they're all picking something up. In your life, look at right now, what is God doing? And if you slow things down, you'll actually be able to observe a blessing. And sometimes we're standing right on a blessing but don't realize it because we're just rushing ahead. And we don't realize I'm standing on blessed territory. I'm standing in blessed land. I'm standing in the midst of something that God has already done for me. So wisdom and discernment, part of it is there's a great wisdom in we talked about this yesterday. There's a great wisdom in slowing down and seeing currently and presently in the minutes what God is actually doing. What is the blessing? Sometimes you're looking at something and you don't realize how awesome and beautiful God is. Sometimes you don't realize the moment now until later. You go, oh, that was just such a wonderful, but you don't realize what God is doing right now. So wisdom and discernment. So many of you have children still in the home. You have grandchildren in the home. You have your sons and daughters that you can pick up and call and talk to them on the phone. What that represents is an opportunity to speak a blessing and to speak life and to always do the comprehensive, big comprehensive blessing. Bless everybody. Bless everything. So don't pick and choose. Do blanket prayers. And I tell you that all the time because in the blanket prayer, it's like throwing seed out into the field, and you throw it out there. It's on good soil. It will. You have a what is that called? That you have like a field of a field of flowers, field of blessings that just pop up because you keep spraying it out. You keep growing out there. Don't just be like onesie, twosie, threesie, picking and choosing. You're gonna have a skimpy looking garden. But if you are blessing comprehensively on a regular, it's your duty to do that because the words and everybody touched on that today in their prayers. But the words that come out of your mouth you can do stingy little prayers and just pick and choose, or you can just take a big bag of seed of blessing and throw it out into the fields that you're responsible for walking in. And even if it gets over in the neighbor's field, just be flowing in blessing, and the blessings that it is a circulatory thing. And I was listening to I forgot his name yesterday on TV. I'm just going to give you an example, and I really was touched by what he was talking about. But and Melody talks about it all the time. Because we're working in blessed territory, and every time I've done this, He wants to bless you. That's why she keeps telling you about the sowing seed. We're working on He literally is trying to get a blessing to you. As you are being a blessing, the Lord is blessing you. But He can't do it unless you release it. So I'm finding, how do we give it? How do we do it? How do we do it? And we're doing to the max. And then I'm saying, Lord, expand our capacity to be a blessing. And likewise, this is blessed territory. He wants to bless you. You need to sow and seed so that He can bless you, because that's what we're talking about now. Now, listen to this. He was talking about, and I can't think of his name. You would know him if I called him. He comes on TBN in the morning. He talked about his children, and that he told them he would match whatever they were able to save. And so he would match whatever they put in the bank or through working or allowance, etc. And he said one of his sons they hardly put anything in there, so that wasn't a challenge. Two of his sons wasn't a challenge, but he had one son that was just saving and saving and saving, and then got an extra job and was saving. And so it's one thing he said you have to be generous and smart. So generous is you plan it at the time, and smart is you're able to gather it and you can receive a blessing. So you have to be able like a pipeline, receive it and you have to be able to do both. And so he said one of his sons he had a was saving money, and then he said that he saved up so much money from his childhood that the other two sons would borrow money from him. And he said he borrowed money from him. That's how much he had saved up, because he said he almost broke him because he was such a good saver. But then what he did not know is that his son was also a very incredible giver. And he was the janitor at the church, and there was a lady that came in, and there's a book that he called, I can't think of I apologize, but if I can remember it, there's a book that he has that his father had published. And this woman came in and gave a testimony. She said that her and her husband were on the verge of separating, and then they read the book, and the husband read the book, and then the wife read the book, and they stayed together because it broke some yokes and it got things flowing back between them. And then he so the lady came in and gave the testimony about the book and said, I want to order 10 more because of the miraculous impact this word had in their life. So she wanted to order 10 more. And the son, the saver son that was the janitor at his father's church, which is just wonderful, was the janitor at his father's church. When the lady got up to got up to the front desk to buy the books, she said the cashier said it's already taken care of. And she goes, how? She said, the young man that was standing behind you that was being the janitor, that's the pastor's son, and he already paid for everything. But see, he was a saver. He had thousands of dollars in the bank, and but he was a saver. And so but when it came time to release it, he released it and really changed that woman's life and the lives of the people that got the book. But the point was that, and what he was saying, nobody knew. He was a quiet giver. He didn't, like, they used to have, and some churches do, they have where the tithers stand up and everybody makes a big thing going down to the front. The secrecy of it is because then you get all your reward in heaven. God just, you're doing it in such a way that God gives the reward comes through heaven. And so this is what his son was doing. He said he would have never known except because the son didn't tell him what he did. The receptionist told the father what the son had done. And that was just so amazing because even though he's teaching everybody else, his children were getting it. So why am I saying that? Because each of you are sitting, you have family, you have relatives, you have blessings that God has. Now, everybody's not perfect. They're coming along. Some people come along in baby steps, barely noticeable, and then some people make leaps and bounds. But the point is, God is moving all things are working together. He's moving the agenda along. He's moving them along. He's moving everybody along, even around you. He knows who's attached to you. He knows who your children are. He knows who your friends are. He knows where you realize that God knows where you work. He knows where you go grocery shopping. He knows all about you. He takes great care in the detail around the things that happen in your life. So all the better if you start speaking God to the situation. What is God? The blessing, speaking the word, opening up doors. You can open up doors in, children's lives. You can look at them and just don't say that's just how they are. Speak life. You have work right in front of you. You are looking at tremendous amount of blessings that God is doing, and blessings in process, blessings that are coming, things that God is just unfolding and doing and flowing in. Speak life, bless. That's just say, Lord, I see what you're. Just take a moment, Lord, I see what you're doing. Thank you. I see what's happening over here. Thank you. I see how you're blessing down over this situation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See it and acknowledge it. And as you pay attention and see it and acknowledge it, cast a wider net, bless even further, bigger, bigger, bigger. And what happens is when you are looking at the thing, this is the richness, this is the wealth in not just money, wealth in family, wealth in healing, wealth in setting you just like what God is doing in your life. Wouldn't that be wonderful that He's doing it in your children's lives, that they're having as rich a relationship with God as you're having, that they're having that experience? That can happen. You speak it. There's a right of an inheritance. Now, they may not jump, just like you didn't jump in and all of a sudden you instantly saved and did everything perfectly moving forward. They're going to go up and down and roundabout or whatever. They're going to do the human thing, and then they're going to have a godly encounter, and they're going to take off on their own direction. But look at what God is doing. Every one of them have the opportunity. So as you're looking and sitting and you're praying to save the world, don't forget those ones that's sitting right behind you, right beside you. Pray over them. You have grandchildren, you have children, you have spouses, you have friends that are close to you. You have a whole entourage of people that are around you. There's blessings God has been. Look at what has God been doing in their lives all around you. And just wonderful to take a minute and say, Lord, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, let's say it like this. It could be, not that it's perfect, but goodness, it could be worse. I mean, it could be so much worse. And it's not. You don't know what He's actually done, but just where it is, right where it is, sons, daughters, grandchildren, spouses, friends, right where it is. Thank Him right there. Just thank Him right there for what He's already done, where He is pushing you into, what He's leading and guiding. The reason I'm saying that is when you start acknowledging God, He cares so much for us. He spends so much time and effort just covering, blessing us, looking after us, taking care of us. And then when we stop and go, Lord, I see you. I see what you did. I see what you're doing. I thank you. I thank you for it. Because this is the deal. When you're out taking care of His business, He's taking care of your business. But it's good for you to realize that and acknowledge that He's taking care of your business. Acknowledge that when I say your business, I mean your family, your life, your household, and a bunch of things. And that He continues to nudge and direct you. Sometimes He'll say, slow down or sit down and enjoy this moment. Sometimes He'll tell you to take extra time with certain individuals, or He'll put somebody on your heart to call. As He does those things, take time, because see, while you're still out doing the big stuff, He's baby steps, carefully and meticulously nudging and bringing things along that are around you. He's growing the plants that you've already planted, the things that you are responsible for. He's covering them. And then you acknowledge and cover them as well. You acknowledge, say, Lord, I thank you. It's important. It doesn't matter what you think your kids are looking like, or what they have or have not done. What have they done correctly? There's some stuff, there's wonderful things that he's been doing. There's some wonderful things that in time, with blessing, with covering, and with you continually speaking of blessing, that personality will morph into something. It'll become the next version of what God is creating that person to be. See it, ask for it, stay on the press in terms of the blessings that are sitting right in your corridor, right in your home, right in your neighborhood, right in your surroundings, what He's actually doing. And just learn how to give Him, break forth and give Him praise at every point in time. When you notice something, God notices that you notice. When you acknowledge Him for something, He notices that, and He feels good because He blessed you, and then He feels good because you saw it. So it's two ways. When God blesses you, He feels good, He blessed you. You feel good, He blessed you. But it's also when you say, thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Father. Thank you. I see that. Thank you. When the weather's beautiful, thank you, Lord. When even when a good song comes on the radio, thank you. because he's creating your environment. And the more you acknowledge it, the bigger and more beautiful it starts. You can have just wonderful blessing upon blessing upon blessing, and he will do that thing. So if you say, if I have, like I said, I always use that movie, The Color Purple, but there's a lesson in there. Not because the whole movie is beautiful, but there's a lesson in there when you see something and you think it's a small thing. Even when he brings the birds, the butterflies, the hummingbirds, the flowers, the weather, he's talking to you. If you look up from all of your busyness, slow down and see what he's doing. See, see the environment. See what he's always reaching to you to talk to you. He's always he's always rubbing your face. He's always talking to you. He's always saying, I love you. He's always, when you get that extra parking spot, you're driving around and the place opens up right up next to the front door. That's the I love you. He's talking when you ask for something and then it just kind of miraculously appears somewhere. That's him pushing it into your environment, getting the thing, getting what you asked for. He is constantly loving you, constantly pushing something into to let, and then which can be so wonderful if you acknowledge and realize that he's doing it. It just makes him feel so happy. When you pay attention to God and acknowledge that you've seen something, it makes him really happy. When you say, Lord, I see it, thank you. I do that all the time. There's these, it seems like a small thing, but it's a big thing. There's these, where I do my walk, there's this bush with these little orange flowers, and they're just burnt orange. They're beautiful, bright, burnt orange. I don't know what they're called, flowers. And I one time when I first started paying attention to what he was doing in the environment as I would walk, he had there I was one time I stopped and I said, Lord, that is so beautiful. That is such a beautiful flower. And the color was so, because it was when you see color in a flower, it's alive. It's not like you see it flat on a paper. It's alive. So it's living color, which is different than something you see on a canvas. And so I stopped and I said, oh my God, that is the most beautiful orange. It's just burnt orange. It's so pretty. And I was telling the Lord how beautiful it was. And I try to do that all the time because I can feel that he knows that I said that. He knows that it's like you're having a conversation. And stuff. Like, okay, example. If you prepare dinner for your husband and set up flowers and set up this and set up that, and how much better is it when he walks in the door or walks in the room and goes, oh honey, that's so pretty, and he starts noticing the flowers and he notices the napkins and he notices the candles and he notices the things or notices you. How much better is it than versus him just walking in and sitting down and eating? Which he and tells you the food is good, that's fine, but did he see all the other stuff that you did? Do you see all the other stuff that God is doing? Do you see all of what he's already done? Just praise him for it. Just say, because you know what? It didn't have to be that way. You didn't have to be able to call your child on the phone. You didn't have to be able to pick up the phone and they answer it. That is a tremendous blessing. They're here. You didn't have to get home safely. You didn't have to have the lights come on and food in the refrigerator and this happening and that. It doesn't have to be that way, but it is. It's a blessing. And then when you go, Lord, thank you, when you start learning how to throw the thank yous out and give them out, you'll be surprised. Every time you do it, it multiplies. So what you thank him for grows. What you have gratitude and take out and speak out your mouth, that was in Jackie's prayer this morning. What you speak out your mouth, manifest. Blessing. You should be a walking manifestation of blessing, 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 and blessing. If he doesn't get a thank you from anybody else in the earth realm, you should be the thank you woman. You should be our thank you man. You should be the one saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I see it. And I praise you for it. And it's just beautiful. Just I'm telling you, the day, your time, when you're with your breath, with your 24 hours, how many times you stop and say thank you? Oh, and the more you would do this thing, the more you and there's so much he does, but the more you would do that thing, what that does is it blesses you. Period. It blesses God because my children have paid attention to what I've done. They've seen it there, and the more you do it, the more you say, the more thank yous versus the murmur, complaining person. The more you thank him and praise him and speak life into the situation and speak the possibility and speak the blessing, the more you do that, you just drawing down more blessings from heaven. It's like hooking your water hose right up to the sprinklet of blessings, because blessings beget blessings beget blessings. Praise begets praise begets praise. Murmuring and complaining begets murmuring and complaining begets more murmuring and complaining. And it'll just dig a hole and walk down in it. But you're not doing that. You're praising him, and thanking him and praising him. When you write your bills out, thank him because you had it to write out. When you see people and you haven't, just thank them. Just start thanking them on every little thing, and those things will start to grow. Blessings will start to come in. You start opening up the possibilities. So now, wisdom and discernment. Wisdom and discernment. What I just told you, that is wisdom and discernment, because what you are acknowledging and what he already did. Then when you get down to where there's something you have a problem with, then it's not a problem. It's now you're giving up control. You're asking God to help, asking him to do it, tell you how to do it, what needs to happen. But the main thing, like I said, when you get in his presence, you've got to say, I don't know. Start your prayer out with thanking him and thanking him and thanking him. And so, Lord, I don't know. I have no idea. And guess what? I'm not going to worry about it. That not only do I not know, I'm not going to worry. When you say I don't know and I'm not going to worry about it, that clicks it in, that locks it in. My child needs me, and she or he doesn't know what to do. I will come to the rescue. When you say I don't know and thank you, Father, I don't know what to do, and I'm not worried. The I'm not worried is the faith. When you really don't know what to do, you don't have control over it. When you say, I'm not worried about it, I don't know what to do, I'm not worried here, giving it to him, it's done. He will, and you might have an inclination, do this, do that, make that phone call, do whatever. That might be an inclination, then that's your part. But after you did all that, faith, sheer joy, because one of the ways to get blessed on anything, and I can tell you, because I've done it many times, you write what's in your checking account to somebody else. Write it out. It's not enough to pay the bill. It's got to be seed. It's not enough to do this. It's got to be seed. And then what happens is when you do it, because see, you're not just a stranger. You're not a strange person. You're not somebody walking in off the street trying to trickery. You have a daddy. You have a father. You wanna see something happen? Just like you float in water. If you know water, this is how that works. If you're tense in water, you won't be able to float. But when you relax in the water and lay on top of the water, you can float. Prayer is that very same way. You relax on it, you lay on it, you float. I have no idea. And just like when your children get up in the morning, or they are functioning, and you're taking them somewhere, they don't sit and go, "Oh, I hope Daddy doesn't have an accident. I hope this doesn't happen." They don't. I mean, some children do, but that's because they've been in a very frantic environment. But most kids don't think about that. They just, Daddy got it. Daddy has it, and that's how they function. Youth, likewise, same thing. Open-ended. The giving up control is the beginning of the miraculous blessing, because what will happen is he might tell you something extraordinary to do, but then he'll also do the extraordinary for you. If he takes you out there, he will actually, miraculous does not happen inside of logic. Miraculous happens inside of faith, and that crazy faith, that big faith, that extraordinary faith, that push it through faith, that is where the super miraculous happens. You think of you. God gives you a blessing, a vision, a process that tells you something. You don't see nowhere physical that's how it's going to happen, but He told you. Your daddy told you the discernment, the wisdom and discernment. The wisdom in discernment is to be able to hear God's voice. It has nothing to do with logic in the earth realm. The wisdom and discernment is because you have a high familiarity with His voice. You know what it feels like. Now, you know that thing. You know what your daddy's voice sounds like. That's all you need to know. Everything else is predicated on I do not know what to do, and I'm not going to worry about it, and not even in the bad thing, on the good stuff. The Lord gives you a vision. Okay, now got the vision. I see it, because you can have you can talk to him like a regular person. I got the vision and I see it. Now I don't know how to do it, but I believe you. So now walk me through it. That's the receiving. That's the giving and receiving. You have to go yes on the vision, yes on the blessing, yes, and notice the little bitty stuff. Notice the big stuff. Yes, yes. You're. This is how you bounce it back. Yes, I see it. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Lord. Just the praise and the worship and the affirmation. You're doing that. But you can also say, this is a wonderful blessing. I don't know how to do it. I'm not going to do it under my own strength. That's what you're saying. When you say, I don't know how to do it, I'm not going to do it under my own strength, but I'm opening up every opportunity, my mind, my heart, my spirit, everything. I'm opening it all up, all the windows and doors, so that you can pull it through, talk it through, walk me through it, because He has to walk you from being John Doe regular person into that person that He's making you into to manage the thing He's getting ready to give you. You're moving, the vision moving, the things are moving. Everything is moving towards a manifestation, but you are not doing it under your own strength. You have to release control of your logic. When Jesus told the disciples tax money, now tax money is a hardcore hardcore stapled down thing that needs to happen. It's got to do it. Okay, that's a hard stop. That's a hard event. Jesus went into an extraordinary, unusual place just so that it would be documented, just so you would know. Go fishing, thing you like to do anyway. Go fishing. What is your thing that you like to do anyway? Do that thing. Go fishing. And the first fish, so that we can get that out of the way, the first fish you find, open up his mouth and the money will be there. Now, so many things had to happen. There's how many fish in the water? How did the fish know? That's the time you were getting ready to put your fishing pole in the water. How did that fish already have the money in its mouth? Are they're not? It's just so many things have to come to synchronize for that thing to happen, yet and still it happened. So what that means is your blessing can find you. You could be standing in a crowd of people, the blessing with your name on it, because you keep talking that praise, you keep speaking the blessing, God can bless you, and he'll have 2 or 3 people there. He knows one of them, if he blesses them, they're going to be speaking that blessing and talking about it for the next however long. He'll get a whole lot of payout for that one blessing, versus the other one that goes and will hide it under a rock and not say nothing, and then the other one that will just murmur and complain. Yeah, he gave me a car, but it's not the right color. He gave me this, and it's not quite. Yes, he gave me a house, but I got this wonderful house, but the backyard needs to be landscaped. See, that's a slap around person right there, because you don't know how to be blessed. You know how to see a blessing and get with it and fix it. And the other one, he's not going to do. He's not going to get anything because it's a murmur complaining. But it's that one. If I did that, you entertain God with your praise. You entertain God with being so excited every time He does. And now, in this honest excitement, I get excited whenever somebody says the Lord said such and such. Oh my God! Or just like a puppy. Like, oh, did He say? How did He say my name? Did He say it fast? Did He say it slow? Where were you standing? And did He say? How did He just say it exactly like He said? It amazes me that he knows my name, and this happened so many times, but it's still such an amazing, excitable. I can't tell you how excited I get when somebody says that God has spoke my name to them. It's just incredible. It just takes me over the top, like jumping out in the middle of the street, screaming. I was like, God, he said my name like that. It's every time. It gets worse. It's actually getting worse instead of better. And so, but when the fact that you can get that excited about the stuff God does, you keep getting excited. You keep getting excited. He'll keep blessing you because you're entertainment. Now, if you have children, you have one little kid that you know, if you pull out a popsicle, everybody else is going to go thank you, but that one is going to go, oh my God, it's a popsicle. Oh my God, thank you, thank you. They're just going to go get spastic. If you guys have had, there are people that have dogs in their house right now that if they go anywhere near that leash, the dog is going to go spastic. They won't even, they have to even spell the word. They can't say the word walk. Let's go for a walk. If they say the word walk, the dog knows what walk means. So they have to say, do you want to go for a W-A? Should we take the dog? Should we take such? I've seen people that have done this, W-A-L-K. They have to spell the word because the dog will know what that. If he hears the word walk, he's not going to leave you alone till you take him on a walk. And that's how you be surprised if you get excited about what God has already done, and that out of everybody else, you're going to be the best happy person of what God has done. You will get the blessing. You will always get the extra scoop of ice cream or the extra scoop of whatever he's doing. You will get an extra scoop because you have a payout. You like a slot machine. The praise is going to come out of you. If he puts a quarter in you, you're gonna be the one dancing. Everybody else is gonna be okie dokie, but you be that one. You be that incredible, excitable person. That the blessing, because it blesses God to hear you be happy about what he's done, and when you the more you bless him, the more he's blessing you because you're blessing him. It's a back and forth. That's how it goes. You guys start dancing in the blessing arena. So, and so these two things I've just given you, and we're getting ready to do the Deuteronomy blessing. Wisdom and discernment, so you can hear. What does that mean? Hear, just like I was describing, a little dog that can hear the word walk, or that can hear the praise. Or you just wisdom and discernment as you know your Father's voice. You just get up in the morning expecting, and what that means, that creates joy. That's like regenerates the joy, regenerates the love, regenerates the peace. It is a good happy day almost every single day. It is a good, wonderful, something beautiful is happening almost every single day, and that's the truth. Now, how does that happen? Because the blessing begets blessing, and happy begets happy, and the joy and the praise begets the joy and the praise, and the joy and the praise. And you start standing. Today is Wednesday. You start speaking blessings all into the next 2 weeks. You start speaking blessing all the way to the end of your day, and it just continues and it keeps going. It produces it. It reproduces itself. That's what I'm looking for. It reproduces itself, and in the midst of it, you know those people that you see that are just jolly most of the time, if not all the time. It's because they're eating that. That's what they're doing. They praising, they're finding the good, they're making sure they're speaking out the good. And then when you be surprised, when you smile and are blessing and loving to people, guess what? They, for some strange reason, they're smiling and loving back. You smile at people, compliments. You should have compliments flowing out your mouth all the time. And when you meet strangers, or when you meet people, people you can meet them. This is how you manifest the thing. You can be walking down the street and see something beautiful about anybody, compliment them, because what you just did, you just made their day. You just shifted something. That love that you put in word form and shot it across the room or down the sidewalk or into a bill or to somebody else, that thing you just did, you just gave somebody a boost. You just gave them, oh, thank you. And now after you have given, this is what happens. After you have given them that compliment, especially in children, but adults, people too, after you have given them that compliment, then now you've gone on about your business, but the words you said are now resonating in their spirit. They actually are thinking about it. Oh, they like this sweater. I just got this sweater. It could be something, especially old people too. You just tell them about this sweater, or their hair, or their glasses, or their purse. Just find something, and they may want to stop and tell you the whole story. Some of them just want to talk, but look what you did. You just gave them a verbal hug. You just spread some love. You just gave it out, and you become that's God. The loving people is God. Giving and sharing and inspiring people, that's God. You just did that. Now you keep doing it. He's going to keep supplying you with more to keep doing it because he's wanting to bust through. He always wants to come through, and you are doing the coming through part. That's a blessing. Godly discernment and then give up control. Two ways to be blessed. So today, the two scriptures we're going to read are both blessings. One is the Deuteronomy. That's the generic multivitamin blessing. You can't get enough of that one. We're doing that blessing. The second blessing is a release control. Lift up your head, all you gates, and be ever lifted up. That is a powerful, holy, consecrated, calling on high blessing. That blessing is very, very powerful. So we're getting ready to read. You guys don't rush through it. Read it kind of slow. You're blessing the prayer line when we're reading the scripture, but you're actually pronouncing a blessing. Now, when you get this blessing, hold it, read this. If you got to read it extra, this should wash out whatever is happening. Turn it around. Turn the conversation of it around in your mouth and speak that thing out according to what, let God even give you the words. Don't figure out don't speak a blessing from your mind. If you haven't been used to throwing out blessings and speaking powerful blessings on people, then ask God for the words. But you should be a blesser. You should be a professional blesser. You should be able to bless people 24/7. You should be able to wake up out your sleep and bless somebody. If you start doing that, you will reap what you sow. If you start sowing blessings out of your mouth, out of your countenance, out of your prayer, out of everything, guess what's going to happen? Press down, shaking together, running over. Just freely throw it out, and it will, in heaps and bounds, it will come in that very way.